I never thought I'd need a hidden camera to catch my mother-in-law poisoning my family, but here we are. My name is Sarah, and my world has been a carefully constructed house of cards for the last 6 months, ever since my son Leo was born. He's not a newborn anymore. He's a smiling, chubby-cheeked 6-month-old who is the absolute light of our lives. My husband Mark and I finally felt like we were hitting our stride. The sleepless nights were becoming less frequent. We had a routine and Leo was just starting to show interest in solid foods. Life was good. Stressful but good. We were a team and we were finally getting a full night's sleep, or at least as full as it gets with an infant. Then my mother-in-law Millie, whom we all call Mill, had a minor fall in her apartment. She insisted she was fine, but Mark was worried sick. She's in her late 60s, lives alone since Phil, Mark's dad, passed away 5 years ago and has a stubborn streak a mile wide. After a week of back and forth, Mark floated the idea that had been lingering in the air, unspoken. What if she stayed with us for a little while? He'd asked one night, his voice tentative. Just until she's back on her feet. It would give us peace of mind and she could help with Leo. You're going back to work part-time soon and we were going to look for a nanny anyway. It could be a win-win. My stomach did a nervous flip. I've never been super close with Mill. She's one of those women who believes her way is the only way, especially when it comes to parenting. She's made countless comments about how I coddle Leo, how rice cereal in his bottle at 2 months would have made him sleep through the night, how I hold him too much, how my organic homemade baby food is a waste of time, when Jared food is just fine. But she's Mark's mom. And she was hurt. Saying no felt cruel, like I was being the difficult, ungrateful daughter-in-law. So we moved her into our guest room. The first week was fine. A little tense, but fine. She did help with cooking and light cleaning, and she adored spending time with Leo. She'd sing him old lullabies and tell him stories, and for a moment, I'd see the sweet grandmother she desperately wanted me to believe she was. I started to feel guilty for my initial reluctance. Maybe I had misjudged her. Maybe this could work. Then things started to get weird. Subtly at first. It began with Leo. He's always been a good sleeper, but he started waking up screaming 2-3 times a night. Not just fussing, but gut-wrenching, painful screams that seemed to come from a place of real distress. His diaper was always clean, he wasn't hungry. I'd rock him for hours, my own anxiety skyrocketing, singing softly until my voice was hoarse, while a pit of dread formed in my stomach. Then during the day he became unusually fussy and clingy. He'd been a happy, curious baby, always eager to practice rolling over or grab at his toys. But now he was lethargic, his eyes often glazed over, and he would cry if I put him down for even a second. I took him to the pediatrician. Dr. Evans checked him thoroughly. It could be teething, she said kindly. Or a little tummy bug. It's going around. His weight is good, his vitals are strong. Just keep an eye on him, give him plenty of cuddles, and call if he develops a fever or stops wetting diapers. I felt a little better, but the nagging worry didn't go away. A mother's intuition is a powerful thing, and mine was screaming that something was very wrong. Mark thought I was being a hypochondriac. The doc said he's fine, honey. You're stressed about going back to work. It's probably just a phase. He's developing, things change. Then it happened to me. I've always had a cast iron stomach. But I started feeling nauseous every afternoon. Not morning sickness, but a specific rolling nausea that would hit around 3 p.m. like clockwork. I'd get dizzy spells and debilitating headaches that made it impossible to focus, a thick fog settling over my brain. I was exhausted, but I chalked it up to the broken sleep from Leo's night wakings. I felt like I was failing, like I couldn't handle being a mother and was now falling apart physically. One afternoon, Mill brought me a cup of tea. "You look pale, dear," she said, her face a mask of grandmotherly concern. "You're pushing yourself too hard. This is my special blend. Ginger and peppermint. It will settle your stomach and help with the headache." It was sweet of her. I was desperate for relief. I drank it. It tasted different. Slightly bitter with a strange, almost chemical undertone I couldn't place. An hour later, the nausea was gone, replaced by a groggy, fuzzy-headed feeling as if I'd taken a strong sleep aid. Thought, wow, her tea is potent. Old-fashioned remedies are something else. The pattern continued. Leo would have a terrible night. I'd be an exhausted, nauseous mess the next day. And every day, like a ritual, Mill would bring me her special tea at 3 p.m. I'd drink it, feel briefly better, then crash hard, often napping on the couch while she watched Leo. I started to feel dependent on that tea, looking forward to the relief it brought, even as the after-effects left me feeling drained and disconnected. The breaking point came when Mark got sick. He came home from work looking gray. "I've had a migraine all afternoon," he groaned, something he rarely gets. He went straight to bed. The next morning he was pale and shaky. "I feel awful," he said, clutching his head. "My head is still pounding and my stomach is doing somersaults. I must have picked up a stomach flu." Mill was instantly at his side, a picture of efficiency and concern. "Oh, you poor thing. Let me make you some of my tea. It works wonders for headaches and nausea. It'll fix you right up." She brought him a large mug. He drank it gratefully and fell into a deep, heavy, almost comatose sleep for 4 hours. When he woke up, he said the pain was dulled, but he was groggy and disoriented. "Mom's tea is like a knockout punch," he joked weakly. "I don't know what's in it, but it sure knocks you out." But I wasn't laughing. A cold, sharp suspicion began to prick at the back of my mind, a seed of dread that quickly sprouted into a full-grown vine of terror. It was all too convenient. Her special tea that made everyone sleep. Her constant, hovering presence whenever one of us was feeling unwell. Her barely hidden satisfaction at being the one to nurse us all back to health, the matriarch in charge. The pieces started to click into a horrifying mosaic. Leo's screaming fits always seemed worse on the days I'd drunk her tea the afternoon before. Was it passing through my breast milk? Was she giving him something directly? A drop in his bottle? The thought was so monstrous I tried to shove it away. This was Mark's mother. He loved us. Why would she do such a thing? I must be going crazy. The stress, the sleep deprivation, it was making me paranoid. But the evidence was piling up. My miscounting of the expressed breast milk in the freezer had started around the same time. I'd find bags missing, and Mill would sweetly suggest I was just tired and forgetful. "You've got so much on your plate, Sarah," she'd say, patting my arm. "It's no wonder you can't keep track." Now I wondered if she was using it for something else. Testing something? Practicing? I felt like I was losing my grip on reality. Paranoia is a slippery slope and I was tumbling down it headfirst. I couldn't accuse her without proof. Mark would never believe me. He'd think the stress had finally broken me. He'd suggest I see a therapist and maybe he'd be right. So, I did the only thing I could think of to preserve my sanity. I ordered a tiny, discreet nanny cam online, one that looked like a simple USB charger block. I felt a wave of guilt and shame setting it up on the kitchen counter, pointed directly at the kettle and the main food preparation area. But the fear for my son's safety was stronger than any sense of propriety. For 2 days nothing happened. Mill made meals, fussed over Leo, and made her special tea for me every afternoon. I'd take it, thank her, and take it to my room to relax, where I would pour it down the sink when she wasn't looking, pretending to drink it. My nausea and headaches lessened significantly. After 2 days of not drinking her tea, I felt clearer-headed than I had in weeks. The illness she claimed to be curing was directly tied to her cure. The realization made me feel cold all over. On the 3rd day the camera caught it. I was in the home office, supposedly working on my return-to-work plan, but I had the camera feed open on my laptop. I watched Mill move around the kitchen. She hummed a hymn to herself as she prepared a bottle for Leo. Then she opened a specific high cupboard, the one where she kept her private assortment of teas and remedies, things she'd brought from her own home. She pulled out her special tin, the one with the faded floral pattern. And then she did something I'll never forget, a sequence of movements now burned into my memory. She looked over her shoulder, a quick, furtive glance towards the hallway and the living room. The house was quiet. Mark was at work, I was working, Leo was napping. Satisfied she was alone, she reached into the pocket of her cardigan and pulled out a small, unlabeled brown glass bottle, the kind you might get from a compounding pharmacy. She unscrewed the dropper top and, with the practiced hand of a pharmacist, carefully added several drops of a clear liquid into the bottom of my favorite mug. Then she placed a peppermint tea bag in the mug, poured the boiling water over it and stirred it slowly, ensuring it was all mixed in. She slipped the bottle back into her pocket as if it were the most natural thing in the world. My blood ran cold. I felt the room tilt and sway. I gripped the edge of my desk to steady myself. It was true. Every insane, paranoid thought was true. She wasn't just making tea, she was concocting a potion. She was dosing me. I didn't confront her. Not yet. I needed to know what was in that bottle. I needed irrefutable proof. I waited until she brought the tea to me, her face a mask of benevolent concern. Here you go, dear. You look like you need this. I thanked her, my voice sounding hollow and distant to my own ears, and took the mug back to my office. This time I didn't pour it out. I found a small, sterile travel container and carefully poured the tea into it, sealing it tight. This was my evidence. As soon as I heard her leave to run an errand, the front door clicking shut, I called Mark, my voice trembling so hard he could barely understand me. You need to come home. Right now. It's an emergency. What's wrong? Is it Leo? He asked, his voice instantly tight with alarm. It's your mother, I choked out. I have proof she's been doing something to us. Just come home. Please. He was there in 20 minutes, his face etched with worry. I didn't say a word. I just pulled up the recorded footage on my laptop and pressed play. I watched his face as he watched his mother. It went from confusion to disbelief to a dawning, sick, horrified understanding. He saw her furtive glance, the secret bottle, the careful drops, the stirring. It was all there, undeniable. What is that? He whispered, his voice ragged, pointing at the frozen frame of the bottle. I don't know. But we're going to find out, I said, showing him the container of tea. I saved it. We also took the special tea tin from the cupboard. Then we went to Mill's room. It felt like a profound violation, a line I never thought I'd cross, but she had already vaporized that line. In the back of her sock drawer, underneath a pile of woolen socks, we found it. The brown glass bottle. It was about half full. There were no labels, no identifying marks, just a glass bottle with a dropper top. We drove in silence to a private lab in the city that does rapid toxicology and substance analysis. We paid a small fortune for a rush job. The wait was the longest 2 hours of our lives. We sat in a sterile beige waiting room, not speaking, the weight of what we might discover crushing us. Mark held my hand, his grip tight, his knuckles white. Finally, a technician called us back. His face was professionally neutral, but his eyes held a flicker of curiosity. We analyzed the liquid in the bottle and the residue in the mug you provided, he said, looking at his clipboard. The primary active ingredient in both is Phenergan. Mark and I stared blankly. Promethazine, the tech clarified, seeing our lack of recognition. It's a prescription-strength antihistamine. It's used to treat allergies, nausea, and it's a potent sedative. It causes significant drowsiness. In the concentration we found in this bottle, he said, tapping the report, it would definitely induce sleep. It's not recommended for children under 2 due to the risk of severe respiratory depression. It's a powerful drug. The world narrowed to a single horrifying point. Respiratory depression. Leo's screaming fits. Were they paradoxical reactions to the drug? His lethargy. My nausea and dizziness. Side effects of a medication I never consented to take. Mark's migraine and deep sleep. It was all from a sedative. She was systematically drugging us. She had been poisoning her own family. Why? Mark's voice was a broken thing, barely a whisper. He sank into a chair. Why would she do this? What is wrong with her? The drive home was a blur of white-hot rage and silent, shaking tears. We had the evidence. A clinical printout from the lab, the damning video on my phone, the physical bottle in a Ziploc bag like something from a crime scene. Mill was in the living room playing with Leo on a blanket on the floor. She was helping him practice sitting up, her hands supporting his back. She looked up with a bright, grandmotherly smile that vanished when she saw our faces, our grim, tear-streaked expressions. What's wrong? Did something happen? Is everything okay? What's this, Mom? Mark's voice was low and dangerous, vibrating with a controlled fury I had never heard from him before. He threw the Ziploc bag with the bottle onto the coffee table. It landed with a definitive thud. Her face went ashen. The color drained from it so completely I thought she might faint. She looked from the bottle to Mark's furious face to my tear-streaked one, her eyes wide with a deer-in-the-headlights panic. Her mouth opened and closed, but no sound came out. "We had it tested," I said, my voice shaking with a fury so profound it felt like a physical force. "You've been drugging us. You've been drugging me. And it was getting to Leo through my milk. You were poisoning your own grandson." I clutched Leo tighter to my chest, a visceral need to protect him from her. "Poisoning? No. It's not poison," she cried, her hands flying to her chest in a gesture of wounded innocence. "It's medicine. It's to help you. All of you. You were all so stressed, so run down. Help us." Mark roared, making Leo jump and start to cry. I swayed with him, shushing him, my eyes never leaving Mill. "How is sedating us without our knowledge helping? You could have killed him. The doctor said it could cause respiratory depression in infants. Did you even think about that?" "I would never hurt him," she wailed, genuine tears now springing to her eyes. She seemed genuinely shocked by the accusation. "Never. I was helping. Sarah was always so stressed, so anxious. She needed to rest. She wasn't sleeping. And the baby, he was fussy. He needed to sleep so he could grow, to develop properly. And you, Mark, you work so hard, you're exhausted. You need your sleep. I was just helping you all relax. I was taking care of my family." Her reasoning was so twisted, so utterly divorced from reality and medical ethics, that I could only stare in stunned disbelief. She genuinely seemed to believe she was doing a good thing. "You don't get to decide that," I shouted, my composure breaking. "You don't get to drug people without their knowledge. That is not help, that is a crime. You're sick. You need help." "I'm your mother," she sobbed, turning her pleading eyes to Mark, appealing to the bond she was simultaneously severing. "I was trying to take care of my family. You've all been so distant since the baby came. I just wanted you to need me again. I wanted to be the one who made everything better. I wanted things to be like they were when you were little, and I could fix everything with a kiss and a bandage." The confession hung in the air, pathetic and horrifying. It was about control. It was about her pathetic, desperate need to feel indispensable, to be the matriarch who held the family together with her specialty. She missed being needed, so she made us sick and helpless enough to need her. It was a level of narcissism I couldn't fathom. Mark looked at her like he was seeing a stranger, a dangerous and unhinged one. The image of his loving mother was shattering before his eyes. "You need help, Mom. Serious psychological help. This is not normal. This is not love. This is monstrous." "What are you going to do?" she whispered, her eyes wide with fear, finally realizing the magnitude of what she had done and that we knew. "You're going to pack your bags. Right now," I said, my voice cold and firm, leaving no room for argument. "You are going to leave this house and you are never going to step foot in it again. You will not see Leo. You will not contact us. Do you understand me? You can't do that. I'm his grandmother. This is my son's house. You can't keep me from my family," she shrieked, her panic turning to anger and entitlement. "After what you did, you're lucky we're not calling the police and pressing charges for assault and endangerment of a child," Mark said, his voice flat and final, all the fight gone out of him, replaced by a cold, hard resolve. We have the evidence. The lab report. The video. We could ruin you. So you will do exactly as Sarah says. No. But your bags. She left an hour later, sobbing and pleading, trying to hug Mark, who stood rigid and unresponsive. We didn't relent. We didn't offer to help her pack. We stood together, a united front, and watched her go. We changed the locks that very evening, the sound of the new deadbolt sliding into place a symbolic and physical barrier against the betrayal. The fallout in the days that followed was brutal. Mark cycled through waves of immense guilt, anger, and grief. He mourned the mother he thought he had. He replayed his entire childhood, questioning every memory, every time he'd been sick, and she'd nursed him back to health. Was this a pattern? Had she always been this way? The uncertainty was its own special torture. I was dealing with the deep violation and the lingering fear of what she might have done to Leo long-term. The thought that my own body had been used as a vector to pass a sedative to my infant son made me feel physically ill. I couldn't look at my own breast milk without a spike of anxiety. Had I been poisoning him myself unknowingly? The guilt was overwhelming. We took him back to Dr. Evans and, with shaking hands, told her everything. We showed her the lab report. She was appalled, her professional demeanor cracking. "My God," she kept saying. "My God, I am so sorry. I had no idea." She immediately ordered a full blood panel and a thorough neurological workup for Leo. The wait for those results was another fresh hell. Thankfully, everything came back clear. His little liver and kidneys had somehow processed it. His development was on track. But we'll be monitoring him closely for years, always wondering. We haven't spoken to Mill since. She's bombarded us. Texts, emails, long handwritten letters filled with flowery apologies and justifications, blaming her loneliness, her grief for Phil, her desperate desire to help and feel needed. She still doesn't seem to grasp the fundamental criminality and danger of her actions. We don't respond. We've started family therapy to deal with the collective trauma and the betrayal. We have to learn how to trust again, both others and our own instincts. My trust in the world is shattered. I check and recheck everything. I look at people with a new, unwelcome sense of suspicion. The person who was supposed to be a source of unconditional support and love turned out to be the source of a slow, insidious poison, not just chemical but emotional. The house is quieter now. Truly peaceful. Leo sleeps through the night again, his rest natural and healing. My nausea and headaches are gone, the fog has lifted from my brain. The hidden camera is packed away in a drawer, a chilling relic of the worst betrayal of my life. I learned a terrible, life-altering lesson. Sometimes the monster isn't under the bed. Sometimes she's in your kitchen humming a gentle tune and pouring her poison into a cup she hands you with a loving smile, all while wearing the trusted face of a grandmother. And the only way to fight that monster is with the cold, hard light of the truth.